to make the roux, first of all, I start off with 2 tablespoons of Earth Balance butter. This is a dairy-free butter. And then I go ahead and use 2 tablespoons of an olive oil. And I'm going to cook this so that this thickens. And I am using a large pan here, just because this is my favorite pan. And I like that it's non-stick. And I'm cooking this over a low to medium heat. I have it on a 2 right now. I may bump it up a little bit to a 3 out of a 10 on my stove. And what I've added to this slowly is a 1/2 cup of flour. And so I'm just going to finish off the rest of my flour here and incorporate that in to the oils. And next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be putting in some vegetable stock. And how I make my vegetable stock is I roast my vegetables, and I roast lots of vegetables at the same time. I mean, a giant roasting pan full of them. I'm going to be using this for a pot pie, and I'm going to make 2 pot pies out of this. So you're going to have a lot of gravy. It's going to make around 4 cups of this sauce, which we love on everything. So I'm going to go ahead, or maybe a little under 4 cups. We're going to go ahead now. I'm going to finish adding my flour. I want to get all that little pieces inside here. And the vegetables that I make my vegetable juice from, the drippings from the roasted vegetables, I put in 1 giant package. That's like the double package of mushrooms. And I put in 1/2 package of celery, about 6 to 8 potatoes, 2 pounds of carrots. What else did I put in my vegetables? Carrots, celery, onions, 2 gigantic onions. They were the sweet onions. They were bigger than a fist. They were really huge sweet onions. So if you have smaller onions, you do 3 or 4. You can put tons of onions in. The amount of onions don't matter. And in the bottom, I tossed all the vegetables with olive oil, and then I put about 1 inch of water at the bottom of my vegetables. And on top of everything, I sprinkled some sage, celery salt, pepper. Let's see what else I put in. Thyme, a little bit of thyme, and some basil. And that's what I roasted my vegetables with. Oh no! I want that roux. Well, at least it wasn't the iPad, right? I've done that before. So there's that. And I did sprinkle in some white pepper to roast my vegetables with. And I'm going to show you what the juice looks like. Here's some celery salt that I used. Just a simple celery salt. And you can see I'm constantly stirring pretty much this sauce. I want it to thicken, and it's starting to thicken. It needs to be pretty thick before you start adding all your juices to this. And let me show you what this juice looks like that I'm going to be adding, my vegetable juice. Comes out to be this nice, beautiful color. It smells, when I smell this, the juice of the vegetables. Now Now after I've roasted them, now I did roast them for, let's see, 25 minutes the first time, tossed them, stirred them, put them back in for another 25 minutes. And then I drained out all this juice. And it smells like real chicken soup. It tastes like chicken or turkey drippings that come from roasting a whole turkey. It's exactly what it tastes like. So this is going to mimic a kind of a chicken broth right now. But using all of those vegetables, that combination of those vegetables, roasting them is just amazing. And with those seasonings, those are like my chicken soup seasonings when I made, before I gave up meat, when I made chicken soup or turkey soup. Those are all the seasonings I used in that. And this is exactly what it tastes like, so it mimics that. I prefer this kind of a vegetable juice over the juice that you buy in the store. It doesn't, that tastes nothing like this. These drippings are what really make the sauce. And it's pretty easy. You just wash all of those quickly. It took me probably 10 minutes to prepare those vegetables. Wash them real quick. Cut them up. It almost seems like I'm getting looser here. Cut them up. And then put them in the oven. And I like doing this. We live in Florida, so I like doing this in the wintertime because it heats up the house nice. So in the winter, which is right now, we roast a lot of vegetables and we do a lot of stews and pies and things that have to do with the oven because it warms the house the little bit that we need. Like right now, this is January and I'm pretty hot. I almost need to put the AC on. We did have a little cold spell. But we're warming up a bit. So maybe I'll bump it up a little bit more. This really needs to thicken up. You can see it's pretty runny. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the video, and when I get it nice and thick, I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna incorporate the rest in the next steps. Okay, we're thickening very fast. And it seems like as soon as it leaves a trail with your spatula or your spoon, then you can add the juice. And then as soon as you add the juice, it really thickens fast. Ooh, I burnt my finger. That was hot. And now I'm just stirring this around. And I'm adding this beautiful vegetable juice to it. Like I said, this is the juice from real vegetables that makes the difference. I've used vegetable stock before. It comes in jars, and I don't care for it as much as the real drippings. This real drippings is what give it real great flavor. And I'm slowly incorporating, and this is 2 cups of vegetable juice. Slowly incorporating it. And like I said, I really like this pan because it has a lot of surface area, so it seems to do it faster. Cook it. Now a little bit more. We're getting a real nice, beautiful, thick gravy here. And it tastes, like I said, just like your chicken gravy or a turkey gravy, because I season it with all the seasonings I used to use when I cooked my turkeys. And I probably sprinkled only about a half a teaspoon of those seasonings on top of everything. Most of those vegetables are just doing the natural job. And you can see there's, oh, and I did put a couple of tablespoons actually of parsley as a seasoning in right on top of all the vegetables and toss them. So we're getting a really nice, and you can see all the herbs. Let me bring it closer to you. Let's see, there. You can see the actual herbs that are floating here in this gravy. Oh, it smells good. Like I said, it smells just like a chicken gravy or turkey gravy. It looks like it. All right. I'm going to stir this so it's a little bit thick, and then I'll show you the next step. This is the pot that I used for my vegetables, and you can see all the beautiful herbs and spices all over the tops of the vegetables. I roasted them probably, well, like I said, 25 minutes each for each section, stirred them, did another 25 minutes, and then drained out all the juice, and then I roasted them again for another, say, 15 minutes. This is what is going to go in my vegetable pot pie, and then I use a puff pastry right here. But I do have a YouTube video that shows you step by step how I make this. The only difference is this time I'm adding the mushrooms to it, and I did put a whole package of fresh green beans in, probably about a pound of green beans. It came in a, I want to say it was about 2 cups of green beans, fresh green beans. And you can see I leave my vegetables pretty chunky. Those are full-size little mini carrots in there. And the carrots are approximately 2 inches long. Potatoes are about an inch chunk. And like I said, the only difference that I did on the other video for my vegetable pot pie is I added a pack of mushrooms to this, and it was a pretty large size mushrooms. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you my gravy's ready. Now I'm going to add a 1.5 cups of some dairy-free milk. Any dairy-free milk will work. That's non-sugared. You don't want the sweetened vanilla flavor. You just want plain. I have not tried coconut yet, but I'm sure coconut will be okay. It won't change the flavor too much. Almond Breeze Silk is fine, and I'm going to incorporate that slowly. Once the gravy's pretty thick, start incorporating this. Makes a beautiful cream. And then the last thing I'm going to do is add a cup of Chardonnay to it as soon as this is done. And it's basically that easy. I'm going to add the rest and stir it in until it's thick, and then I'll show you how I do my Chardonnay. Now I'm going to go ahead and start adding, I started already a little bit of it, the Chardonnay. As soon as it thickens, and you can see when you draw a line in this, if it's leaving, it takes a while to come back, then you know it's thick enough. And I'm going to go ahead, sorry about that steam. I have the fan set on low. I just don't want the fan to drown out my voice here, or the instructions. But I want that steam. If I put it on high, it gets too noisy. I'm going to go ahead now, and I'm putting in like a cup of Chardonnay. And I'm using Chateau Saint Michel right here. You can use any cheap Chardonnay you want. I wouldn't use the good stuff for cooking. A white wine is good too, especially a white blend. Okay. See, it's nice and thick. And this is going to thicken too, because I'm going to put it in with my vegetables. It depends on what you're using with this. You know, if you're going to have it straight out, put it over, pour it over something in a in a gravy boat, then you want it a little bit thicker. But this is going to thicken up when I cook it in my pie. sometimes you don't want it to get too thick. And it's beautiful. It smells amazing. This is one of my favorite dairy-free gravies. So that's going in. My gravy is pretty much done. You can see as I draw this spatula across, whoops, it leaves a mark, so I know it's thick enough. As it cools, it's going to thicken as well. So I don't want it to cook off too much, because then it'll over thicken and it'll be way too thick. So this is a pretty good thick consistency right now. You can see it's leaving a coat on my, whoops, spatula here, nice and thick. And I'm going to use this, like I said, in the pot pie, and your vegetables are going to absorb a lot of it too, so I don't want it to be real thick in there. I want it to have a nice creamy texture. And I can still smell, oh my gosh, the wine smells amazing coming off of this. And I prefer a little bit more of a twang of a wine, you know, a little sharpness in that wine. So I don't want to overcook it all and cook off everything. And like I said, I'm going to use it in a pot pie, so I'm going to put it in the oven for another half hour at a pretty high temperature. And so the rest of that's going to cook off, but I want those flavors to flavor through the puff pastry in here. But you can see how simple and easy it is, and one of my favorites. Love it. And you can use this for anything, on top of anything. I hope you enjoy, and it would be delicious over a potato with it, mashed potato. So I hope you try it and enjoy.